You used to be sharp. Now, even small problems feel heavy. You tell yourself you're just tired, but deep down, you know it's not fatigue, it's weakness. The world made you soft. It told you to chase comfort and call it happiness. But the Stoics warned us, the price of comfort is your power. There's a way back, a set of ancient laws designed to rebuild what the modern world has broken. 8 Stoic truths. Harsh, honest, transformative. Miss even one, and you'll stay where you are. The modern world is overflowing with comfort, soft beds, fast answers, endless distractions. Yet never has the human mind been so fragile. We've traded resilience for convenience, depth for dopamine, purpose for pleasure. We drown in ease, then wonder why we feel hollow. Look around. Strength has become rare. Men break over words, not wars. Peace collapses over inconvenience. The truth? Comfort is killing us slowly. Every shortcut dulls our edge. Every escape weakens our spirit. But there was once a way of life that forged men who could endure chaos without breaking. A discipline carved from fire and silence. The Stoics didn't run from pain. They faced it until it lost its power. Today, that wisdom returns not as philosophy in books, but as armor for the modern soul. Because the world isn't getting softer, and neither should you. These are the 8 relentless rules that will forge an unbreakable mind. They won't inspire you, they'll rewire you. Number 1. Embrace discomfort. Pain isn't your enemy. Avoidance is. Picture a man running in the rain. Each drop cuts cold against his skin, but his eyes are steady. He's not escaping the storm, he's training in it. Because the Stoics knew, what weakens others can forge you, if you choose to stay. Modern life sold us a lie that peace comes from comfort, but comfort breeds fragility. We build warm rooms and soft routines until the smallest disruption feels like disaster. We scroll away boredom, medicate pain, silence doubt, and then we wonder why we feel hollow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." It's not poetry, it's law. Discomfort is the classroom where strength is taught. Every obstacle is an invitation to become sharper, calmer, truer. Think about the moments that changed you most. They weren't when life was easy. They were when something cracked and you were forced to rebuild. That breakup, that failure, that loss, they were not punishments, they were initiations. The Stoics didn't run from discomfort, they trained with it. Seneca practiced sleeping on the floor, eating simple food, wearing rough clothes not from self-hatred, but preparation. So that when life stripped away luxury, he wouldn't shatter. He'd already been there. Everyday life gives us small versions of that training. The cold shower that steals your breath. The hard conversation you've been avoiding. The extra set at the gym when your body says no. The long silence when your mind demands distraction. Each of these moments whispers the same thing. Face me, don't flee. Because when you step toward discomfort, something begins to shift. The pain doesn't shrink, but your fear of it does. You stop seeing resistance as an enemy and start seeing it as a mirror. It shows you who you are, and more importantly, who you're becoming. Start small. Choose one discomfort today. Do it without debate. Feel the urge to escape, and stay anyway. Let the cold, the silence, the challenge carve away what's weak. Because the mind is like metal, it doesn't strengthen in warmth. It hardens in fire. One day, the world will test you. A storm will come that you didn't choose. But if you've trained with small storms, you'll stand in the big one and smile, not because it's easy, but because you're ready. Discomfort is not punishment, it's initiation. Say it to yourself until it becomes truth. Discomfort is my training ground. Number 2, master your emotions. A man walks down a crowded street. Someone bumps his shoulder hard, mutters something under his breath. The old reflex burns inside him, a flash of heat, a ready retort. But instead, he stops. He breathes. He lets the wave pass. Because he's not fighting the other man. He's fighting himself. That's where real battles are won. Not on battlefields, but in the small, invisible moments when emotion tries to take command of your reason. Epictetus said, "Anyone capable of angering you becomes your master." Think about that. Every time you let someone's words decide your mood, you hand them your peace like a leash. Every time you react without thought, you give away your power. The Stoics didn't teach emotional suppression, they taught awareness. They didn't say, "Don't feel." They said, "Don't be ruled." Anger, fear, sadness, they are signals, not chains. The weak drown in them, the strong read them, understand them, and decide. When you're angry, don't ask, "Why am I feeling this?" Ask, "What is this feeling trying to teach me?" The difference between reaction and response is the difference between chaos and control. Reaction is impulse. Response is choice. Here's a simple discipline the Stoics lived by. Pause. Don't rush to act. Let the emotion rise, let it breathe, and then watch it. Observation creates distance. Breathe. The mind calms when the body slows. Your breath is the reins of your reason. Respond. Once calm, act with intention. Not to prove, not to punish, but to preserve your peace. This is not weakness, it's strength in its highest form. Anyone can yell, few can stay silent and see clearly. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor burdened with war and betrayal, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." You decide what meaning a moment has. You decide if an insult becomes poison or dust. You decide whether pain becomes suffering or wisdom. That is power. And something remarkable happens when you begin living this way. People start to notice. They can't shake you anymore. Their chaos doesn't infect your calm. You become a still point in a spinning world, a rare force. Emotional control doesn't make you robotic. It makes you precise. It allows you to act from reason, not impulse, from intention, not insecurity. The next time rage rises, breathe. The next time fear whispers, listen but don't obey. The next time sadness visits, sit with it, but don't build a home there. Remember this, true power is not in the loudest voice, it's in the calmest mind. Number 3, stop expecting fairness. A man spends years building something he loves, a business, a dream, a relationship, and one day it collapses. He stares at the ruins and whispers the same words we all do. It's not fair, but life isn't a courtroom. There is no judge, no balance sheet of justice waiting to even the score. The universe doesn't owe you symmetry. It only offers reality, and reality is often ruthless. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and still faced betrayal, disease, and loss. Seneca served emperors only to be ordered to take his own life. Even the wisest among them never confused fairness with truth. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." He didn't say this as comfort, but as a challenge. Because when you stop expecting fairness, you start building strength. The illusion of fairness keeps us fragile. It convinces us that suffering is a mistake, that pain is an error in the system. But pain is part of the system. It's the tuition life charges for wisdom. Every time you say, "This isn't fair," you're wishing for a softer world instead of becoming a stronger person. And that wish keeps you small. The Stoics didn't waste energy demanding justice from chaos. They spent it mastering their response. They understood this brutal law. You can't control how life hits you, but you can always control how you rise. The moment you accept that truth, something shifts. The noise quiets. The blame fades. You stop shouting at the storm and start adjusting your sails. Radical responsibility isn't about guilt, it's about power. It doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means everything is your move. You can't change the betrayal, but you can choose how to carry it. You can't rewrite the past, but you can decide what story you tell about it. You can't make the world fair, but you can make yourself formidable. Here's a simple exercise. Think of one moment that still feels unfair. Write it down. Then list 3 things you can control in that story. Your reaction, your next step, your lesson. Those 3 things are your weapon. Use them. Fairness is a myth. Strength is a choice. The world will never promise balance, but it rewards those who walk through imbalance with dignity. When you drop the expectation of fairness, you gain something far greater: freedom. Because now, nothing can surprise you, and nothing can break you. The world isn't fair, but you can always be formidable. Number 4. Control the controllables. Imagine a ship caught in a violent storm. Winds roar, waves slam against the hull, and chaos surrounds the captain. But his eyes don't flinch. He doesn't curse the sky or beg the sea to calm. He grips the wheel and adjusts the sails. Because he knows one truth: he can't control the storm, only how he navigates through it. That is the essence of Stoicism. Epictetus, born a slave, later became one of philosophy's greatest teachers. He said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." It's a sentence that contains an entire blueprint for peace. The Stoics divided life into 2 realms: what is within our control and what is not. But most people live as if the reverse were true. We obsess over outcomes, opinions, weather, timing, success, failure, the past, and the future, everything beyond our reach. And we wonder why we're anxious. We're pulling on strings that aren't ours to hold. Picture 3 circles. In the innermost circle lies your domain, your thoughts, your actions, your choices, your attitude. This is your fortress. In the middle circle lie the things you influence, but can't command other people's opinions, circumstances, chance. You can nudge them, but never own them. In the outer circle lies everything else: the economy, the weather, the passage of time, life and death themselves. The realm of chaos. Most people spend their lives in that outer circle, trying to bend the wind instead of steering the ship. The Stoic does the opposite. He invests his energy in the inner circle, where his control is absolute. This doesn't mean apathy. It means alignment. You still act, plan, and strive, but without the poison of attachment. You do your best, then release the outcome. When you shift your focus inward, something miraculous happens. Anxiety fades, energy returns, clarity sharpens, because you stop fighting what's outside your power and start mastering what's within it. Every time you feel overwhelmed, ask one question: is this mine to control? If the answer is yes, act. If it's no, let go. Let go of people's approval. Let go of outcomes. Let go of the past that can't be redone. This is not surrender, it's strategy. You stop wasting strength on what cannot be changed and use it where it matters most. Your discipline, your decisions, your response. Marcus Aurelius lived this principle every day. As emperor, he faced plagues, war, and betrayal. Yet his journals were filled not with complaints, but with calm reflection. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is your compass in the storm. Control yourself, and you control the world within. Master your thoughts, and you master your fate. The winds will always blow, but the direction you face, that's yours. The storm doesn't decide who you are. Your response does." Number 5. Voluntary hardship. Seneca slept on the floor. He ate rough bread, wore old clothes, and walked barefoot on cold stone, not because he had to, but because he chose to. He called it rehearsal. He wanted to know what it felt like to lose everything, so that when it happened, he would not collapse. Most people only train when life forces them to. The Stoic trains before the storm. We live in an age that worships comfort. Every discomfort has a cure, every silence a distraction, every hunger a delivery app. We're surrounded by convenience, and yet we're weaker than ever. Because comfort softens the will. It makes the mind fragile. It kills our ability to endure. The Stoics understood a truth we've forgotten. If you don't choose your suffering, life will choose it for you, and you'll be unprepared. Voluntary hardship isn't self-punishment. It's self-preparation. You practice doing hard things when you don't have to, so you can endure harder things when you must. Start small. Miss a meal. Take a cold shower. Leave your phone off for a day. Walk instead of drive. Sit in silence and face your thoughts without running. These aren't acts of deprivation, they're acts of liberation. There are 3 kinds of training every Stoic undertakes. First, mental discomfort. This is the discipline of the mind. Meditation, stillness, the control of impulse, the ability to sit in boredom without escape, to hear your own thoughts without drowning in them. Second, physical discomfort. Cold, heat, fatigue, hunger. You face them with awareness, not complaint. When the body learns endurance, the mind follows. Third, social discomfort. The courage to say no, to walk alone, to be misunderstood and remain calm. This is the hardest of all. Voluntary hardship sharpens resilience. It breaks your dependency on ease. It teaches you that you can survive without what you thought you needed, and that knowledge is real power, because a man who needs little cannot be broken easily. But a warning, this path is not about punishment. The goal is strength, not self-destruction. Train with wisdom, know your limits. The Stoics sought control, not chaos. Picture this: dawn, the city still asleep. A man wakes before the sun, steps outside, breathes in the cold air. The world is silent. He doesn't scroll. He doesn't rush. He stands there, steady, letting the chill bite his skin. It's not comfort he's chasing. It's control. The discipline to act when every part of him craves ease. Because one day, the storm will come. The lights will go out. The world will shift. And only those who've practiced discomfort will stay calm in the dark. You don't build toughness in peace. You build peace in toughness. Prepare for the storm while the sea is calm. Number 6. Detach from outcomes. In a dim workshop, a blacksmith hammers steel. Each strike rings through the air, slow, steady, deliberate. He doesn't rush. He doesn't check to see if the blade is perfect yet. He knows perfection comes from repetition, not obsession. His satisfaction is in the swing, not the applause. That is the Stoic way. The modern world teaches the opposite. We're trained to chase metrics, validation, likes, titles, and results. We tie our worth to outcomes, and then we wonder why we're anxious, restless, and empty. Because the moment you depend on results, you hand them your peace. Epictetus warned, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." The Stoics lived this truth. You can influence the future, but you cannot own it. You can give effort, but you cannot command outcome. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." That's the secret. The future is never the battlefield, now is. The process is the only place you have power. Detach from the outcome, not because results don't matter, but because obsession with them blinds you. When your focus is purely on winning, you forget how to grow. When you fixate on control, you lose the ability to flow. Ask yourself 3 questions at the end of every day. Did I give my best effort? Did I learn something valuable? Did I remain calm, regardless of the result? If the answer is yes, you've already won. Because victory isn't found in the trophy, it's found in the discipline that made you worthy of it. When you fall in love with the process, you stop oscillating between pride and despair. You find a quiet rhythm, an inner steadiness that can't be shaken by success or failure. You stop chasing the applause and start chasing precision. This is the paradox of mastery. When you let go of needing to win, you begin to win more often because your mind is clear, your effort pure, your actions detached from desperation. A Stoic doesn't write for fame, train for praise, or serve for approval. He does it because the act itself is the reward. The work is the meditation. The discipline is the peace. Results come and go, but the man who stays devoted to his craft, unbothered by outcomes, becomes unbreakable. So stop asking, when will I get there? Instead ask, how well did I show up today? Fall in love with the craft, not the applause. Number 7, remember death. A clock ticks, then stops. In that silence, you realize how fragile everything truly is. Most people live as if they'll never die. They postpone dreams, suppress words they need to say, and waste hours as if eternity were guaranteed. But every tick of the clock is a reminder that our time is running out, and that's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." The Stoics didn't meditate on death to breed fear. They did it to find clarity, to remember that every moment matters precisely because it can vanish. Modern life hides death behind distractions. We scroll, consume, pretend, and call it living. But one day, something interrupts the illusion, a diagnosis, a loss, a near miss, and suddenly the truth hits. There was never as much time as we thought. To remember death is to remember what's real. It burns away what's trivial and reveals what's essential. You stop arguing over nonsense. You stop living for applause. You stop postponing change. You start moving. You start meaning every word you speak. There's freedom in mortality. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you begin to see how beautiful the temporary can be. You stop clinging and start cherishing. The Stoics practiced this awareness daily. It was called memento mori, remember you will die. It wasn't morbid. It was a mental compass. It kept them aligned with truth and urgency. Here's how to practice it. In the morning, before the noise of the world floods in, sit still. Whisper to yourself, if today were my last, what would matter most? Let the answer guide your choices. At night, when the day ends, ask, what did I do today that made me proud to be alive? Write down 3 things. They don't have to be grand, just real. This simple ritual changes everything. It shifts your focus from busyness to purpose, from noise to depth. You start treating time as sacred because it is. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Death doesn't steal life from us. Distraction does. The man who remembers death stops delaying life. He forgives faster. He speaks truthfully. He risks more. He loves deeply, not carelessly, but consciously. Picture him standing at dawn, watching light spill across the horizon. The world feels both fleeting and infinite. He's not afraid of dying anymore. He's afraid of not living fully before he does. When you remember death, fear loses its grip, because the worst has already been accepted. And once you accept the end, you're finally free to live the middle with courage. You don't have time to wait for the right moment. You only have this one. Remember death so you can finally start living. Number 8. Live for virtue. not approval. Ask yourself this: if no one saw what you did today, would you still do it? The modern world is addicted to applause. We measure worth in numbers, likes, followers, validation. We chase visibility instead of virtue. But a Stoic doesn't move for the crowd, he moves for his code. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." Virtue is the one thing that cannot be taken from you. It is not bought. It is not granted. It is built quietly, in solitude, when no one is clapping. The man who lives with virtue stands on unshakable ground because his values do not shift with opinion. And here's the truth: doing the right thing is often the hard thing. It's easier to lie than to speak truth. Easier to impress than to be authentic. Easier to seek approval than to stand alone. But every time you choose integrity over ease, you sharpen your edge. The Stoics called this alignment with nature, living in accordance with reason, justice, courage, and self-control. Virtue was their compass, even when the world mocked them for it. So, make your own vows. Not loud promises, but quiet oaths that define your life. Keep your word, even when no one will know. Speak truth, even when it costs you comfort. Do right, even when it isolates you. Help others, expecting nothing in return. Act with honor, not for recognition, but because it's who you are. These vows aren't meant to make you perfect. They make you real. Because in a world obsessed with image, authenticity is rebellion. In a world full of noise, integrity is power. Virtue is the foundation of an unbreakable mind. When storms come, applause fades, and status crumbles, only your principles remain, and if they are solid, you will still stand tall. There's a quiet dignity in those who live this way. You feel it in their presence. They don't need to speak loudly because truth vibrates through their calm. They don't demand respect, it follows them. The moment you stop needing the crowd, you become the kind of person they follow. 8 rules, 8 disciplines carved through the fire of centuries. Each one a blade for the mind, a shield for the spirit. Together, they form the quiet architecture of strength, the kind that doesn't scream, doesn't boast, but endures. Stoicism never promised you an easy life. It promised clarity in chaos, order in the storm, and power in stillness. These rules aren't about becoming untouchable by removing pain. They're about becoming unbreakable by transforming how you meet it. The world will not slow down. It will not grow kinder or more predictable. People will still disappoint you. Comfort will still seduce you. Fear will still whisper in the dark. But you, if you live these truths, will move through all of it like a mountain through the weather. Unmoved, grounded, awake. Remember this: strength isn't built in gyms or wars. It's built in silence, in the small, unseen moments when you choose discipline over impulse, composure over chaos, virtue over applause. That is where the unbreakable mind is forged, not in noise, but in stillness. You don't need to announce your transformation. Let your calm speak for you. Let your actions preach what your words never could. Choose one rule today, practice it quietly, fail, learn, return, over and over until it becomes who you are. The world doesn't need another loud man chasing validation. It needs a steady one who embodies truth. So, breathe, straighten your spine, step into the storm with calm eyes, because this is the training ground. This is the way. I choose discipline over mood. I choose virtue over noise. I will be calm, and I will be dangerous. And when the world begins to crumble, you'll still be standing. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger.